Money Habits Keeping You Poor Part 1. Only saving cash. Now, obviously, having cash in the savings account in your bank is a great start. But what's happening to the rest over time? While time goes on, your cash is actually losing its value. That's because of a thing called inflation. Now, to put it simply, inflation is the cost of living going up. So things like goods and services and basic living needs are increasingly getting expensive over time. So let's say that you have $1,000 in your bank account today. Leaving that in a savings account is going to be worth less in the future. That's because as the cost of living goes up, the purchasing power of your money goes down. So how do we cope with this and keep up with inflation? The answer is investing. Investing may seem like a scary and overwhelming thing to some, but it really doesn't have to be. Now this chart here shows you how $10,000 would have grown if you invested it over a 30-year period. Now $10,000 is now worth $35,000 in present value money. And if you invested that into things like US shares or Australian shares, it would be worth $182,000 if you invested in the S&P 500, or $131,000 if you threw it into the index fund in Australia. Now, clearly we can see that US shares are earning a rate of 10.2% year on year. That said, everything doesn't just go up in such linear fashion. There is an element of risk, and it is subject to the undulating movements of financial markets. So over a 30-year period, we can clearly witness the rise and falls of markets, the biggest one hitting us during the global financial crisis in 2008. Since the Great Depression in 1929, there has been about 5 stock market crashes, and which on average has taken about 4 months to recover. So market crashes are actually normal. It's not necessarily something to be fearful about. I get that we've all heard the horror stories of financial crashes happening and investors losing all of their money. But if you just held on and you didn't sell like most investors were doing straight up out of fear, your investments will recover. So even though there is an element of risk when it comes to investing, by not investing, you are actually taking on more risk because the value of your money is going down, and you also miss out on the opportunity to allow it to grow. So the sooner you invest, the better.